Peter, interesting coming to you now because you've got two hats. You're the one real end user on this panel, so you'll have an end user view, but also working with AMWA. So let's have your opening comments.
The notes I made before this started with "I'm wearing two hats." So you obviously, I didn't realise you're sort of spying me. But we've just had a session on the future standards for IP in production. There was interesting discussion of the sort of next set of requirements we want, how to manage connections, how to manage the network itself, how to manage the devices on there.
I have a little bit of a concern that we almost have an interim situation, which is SDI over IP. Is there any risk that will become more permanent than we would perhaps like? If it gets some traction, then some people will find it hard to move away from that kind of solution.
Not if the we had a poll last week at the NTS, and I think that was. Are we allowed to talk about this?
Sorry, at the
Network Technology seminar in Geneva, which Felix was organises.
Yeah.
So there was a poll of about 200 people in the room, and it was there was definitely an overwhelming message coming from this live poll that there is a wish to move away from just SDI over IP to the elemental approach by TR03 and 2110 as well. So that's good news. I think we're all happy with that because clearly SDI over IP is a sort of interim solution to help us learn what is possible, but it does come with a lot of baggage. So hat number one is as an end user, I'm actually BBC is a fairly big contributor to Felix's group in the EBU, and I have a version of that graph there where I've hidden all the dates just so nobody can hold us to them. So BBC, obviously a big player, has a lot of complicated internal arrangements, lots of different types of activity going on. Sort of taking its first steps into the world of IT and IP, live IP. I think you would have seen on one of those graphs that we've been doing some proofs of concept recently. So it mentions a new building in Cardiff, which is sort of coming in a few years' time. So obviously they've done some initial work on looking at how suitable the IP live IP market is at the moment for working. I think basically the message coming out of that was really that it was using 2022-6, so that was basically there, but a lot of the things around it, all the control, the discovery, the comms and side of things is still the market is quite immature, so there's a lot of work to go there. So one of my hats is from the BBC point of view. I'm actually sort of from the R&D department, so we're looking at what is possible with IP, some of the things that are enabled, the later parts of that workflow of that roadmap. So when we move to elemental and self-managed and virtualized, how that can change what the BBC can do. Maybe you start provisioning productions on demand in a data center. So you press a button, it automatically configures itself. So that's one area. But the other thing, and I guess that's what I'm actually here to talk about, is the Networked Media Incubator. So this is something it was set up it was launched at IBC last year, so we've been going for 10 months now. And the idea is to complement what's going on complement what's going on elsewhere in the industry, both the standards area, I guess maybe more on the sort of alliance side with AIMS, also complement what's happening in the VSF group, looking at the specific transport formats and addressing some of those parts of the JTNM model that aren't yet in place. So a universal approach to identity, so you can find things wherever they happen to be. discovery and registration, a joined-up approach to timing. Obviously, timing is going to change quite a bit from just the conventional black and burst and time code. So the incubator is really it's a group of forward-looking, largely manufacturers, but also some end users in there as well. We have about 40 names at the moment, and I would say about half of those have been are active, have been fairly active, and the idea is that we sort of come together every 3 months to put on a workshop. It's a closed event. We use, I guess you call them Chatham House rules. So what happens at the event is we don't expose the details of that, but we give a summary. So it allows people to come to there with implementations, try them out in a safe environment. So that our rules say that you're not going to be, if something doesn't work, then you don't have to worry about that because others aren't allowed to talk about it. And so you may have heard of NMOS, Networked Media Open Specifications. So this is the output from the incubator. The first of which is AMWA IS04. It's a proposed specification for discovery and registration. So it's putting in one of those important building blocks that allow you to scale.